In the ancient hamlet of Bradworthy, Devon, where stone walls divide the fields like the bones of the earth and the past clings as stubbornly as lichen, there lies a narrow track known as Abbot's Lane, flanked by towering hedgerows and shadowed by the gnarled limbs of old oaks. The lane has long been a place of whispered unease, a place where the living tread lightly and the dead, it seems, refuse to rest. Since the 16th century, a spectral figure has haunted this path. The ghost of an abbot, clad in full canonicals, bound by a vow he made amidst the tumult of the dissolution of the monasteries. A vow that has chained him to the earth for near. The tale begins in 1539, during the violent upheaval of King Henry VIII's Reformation, when the monasteries of England were stripped bare, their riches plundered, and their monks cast out. Near Bradworthy stood Ashwood Priory, a modest but devout house of Benedictines, its cloisters once filled with the murmur of prayers and the scent of incense. The Abbot of Ashwood, Father Benedict Warrick, was a man of unyielding faith, his life devoted to the rhythms of liturgy and the care of his flock. When royal commissioners arrived to dissolve the priory, confiscating its lands and treasures, Father Benedict stood resolute. As soldiers tore down the lead from the roof and carted away sacred relics, he knelt in the ruined nave, his voice trembling with defiance. "I swear by the Almighty," he vowed, clutching his rosary, "I shall never leave this holy ground unrestored, not in life nor in death." The commissioners scoffed, but the weight of his words lingered like a storm cloud over the desecrated stones. Father Benedict died not long after, broken by hardship and betrayal. His body interred in an unmarked grave near the priory's crumbling walls. The centuries rolled on, Ashwood Priory reduced to little more than mossy foundations swallowed by the earth, its memory kept alive only in faded parish records. But Father Benedict's vow held fast. By the 1600s, villagers began to speak of a strange figure, seen on the path that wound past the priory's remains, a path that came to be called Abbot's Lane. The figure was unmistakable, an abbot in full canonicals, his black robes flowing like ink, a heavy silver cross gleaming at his breast, his cowl drawn low over a face that shimmered with an otherworldly pallor. In his hands, he clutched a rosary, its beads clicking softly as he walked, his steps slow and deliberate, as if tracing the boundaries of a sacred space long lost. One of the earliest recorded sightings came in 1642, during the unrest of the English Civil War, when a young ploughman named Thomas Evans encountered the abbot while cutting through Abbot's Lane at dusk. The air was heavy with the threat of rain, and Thomas hurried along, his scythe slung over his shoulder, when he saw a figure ahead, standing motionless beneath an oak. At first, he thought it a living monk, a rare sight in those Protestant days. But as he drew closer, he saw the truth. The abbot's form wavered like heat over stone, his face a mask of sorrow beneath the cowl. Thomas called out, but the figure turned silently, its eyes catching the fading light with a gleam that sent a shiver through the ploughman's bones. The abbot raised a hand as if in blessing or warning before fading into the twilight. Thomas fled home, and the next day, his best ox fell lame, a misfortune he blamed on the spectral encounter. Sightings continued across the centuries, each one etching the abbot's presence deeper into Bradworthy's lore. In 1789, a dairymaid named Marjorie Cole saw him while fetching water near the lane at dawn. His robes stark against the pale mist as he paced the path, muttering prayers in Latin she could not understand. She dropped her pail and ran, swearing she felt a cold breath on her neck as she fled. In 1853, a A travelling peddler named John Bray glimpsed the abbot late one moonlit night, the silver cross at his breast glowing like a star as he walked toward the priory's vanished gates. John, a man of stout heart, tipped his hat out of respect. But the next morning his cart overturned on a clear road, spilling his wares across the dirt, a mishap he attributed to the abbot's displeasure. The ghost of Father Benedict became a fixture of Bradworthy's consciousness, a solemn guardian of a lost age. Some believed his vow had bound him to haunt the lane until Ashwood Priory was restored. An impossible task in a world that had moved on. Others thought his spirit lingered out of defiance, a silent protest against the desecration of his sacred home. The villagers learned to live with his presence, though few dared walk Abbot's Lane after dark. Farmers crossing the path would murmur a quick prayer, and children dared one another to creep close, only to scatter at the first rustle of leaves. In 1910, a local antiquarian named Edward Phipps, intrigued by the tales, spent a week camped near the lane, hoping to witness the abbot himself. On the fifth night, under a sky pricked with stars, he saw him, a tall, stately figure in black, the silver cross catching the moonlight as he moved with measured step. Edward noted in his journal that the air turned cold as the abbot passed, the faint click of rosary beads echoing in the stillness. The figure paused at the spot where the priory's gate once stood, turned as if to look at Edward, then faded into the darkness. Edward felt no fear, only a profound sadness, as if the abbot's grief had seeped into his own heart. Even today, in Bradworthy, Abbot's Lane carries an air of the uncanny. The foundations of Ashwood Priory lie buried beneath centuries of soil, but Father Benedict Warrick's vow endures a promise that keeps him tethered to the earth. On quiet nights, when the wind whispers through the hedgerows, some still claim to see him, a solitary figure in canonicals, his rosary clicking softly, walking the lane as if waiting for a restoration that will never come. And in Bradworthy, where the past is never truly past, the ghost of the abbot remains a testament to faith, loss, and the unbreakable weight of a sacred oath. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, follow, subscribe, and comment below.